I'm going to meet my little brother that I haven't seen for a long time. Gonna talk about football, and one of the most important thing is discrimination, and you see how it goes. L'homme,
Pioche,
c'est comment?
ça va et toi?
On est là, carrément, toujours bien sapé.
Oui.
Frate, ti volevo chiedere come ti sentivi quando è successo questa cosa in Italia, quando giocavi per la Juve, le cose razziste, come l'hai preso?
Ma non l'ho presa in modo felice perché ero triste perché è brutto, cioè in un campo da calcio essere insultati per il colore della pelle, sai, non è bello, noi siamo... Beh, era una partita fuori casa contro il Cagliari. Sentivamo il sarebbe in Italia quando lo fai scimmie, sai, no? Ho detto qua devo fare qualcosa, devo fare gol per farli proprio... E cross un'azione, cross di Bentancur, vado in mezzo, gol. Sono andato sotto la curva del Cagliari e ho aperto le braccia, come dire, io sono così, sono nero. Mi sento un ragazzo, mi sento Moise, un ragazzo di colore che non è diverso dagli altri.
My name's Tyrone Mings and I'm a defender for Aston Villa in England. Obviously the game kicked off and straight away it was quite clear, I think, monkey chance. When I went over to the sideline to play a pass, I heard it quite clearly, so if I heard it, the linesman must have been able to hear it. So I've asked the question and that was picked up on camera, which was obviously a great thing because it then made the people in the studio talk about it, and the game was obviously stopped and we followed the UEFA protocol, and there was a stadium announcement.
It was a terrible situation at that match. I'm glad that players support UEFA protocol. This is the minority of idiots with their idiotic ideology, and they use football matches to promote that ideology. And we have to do whatever we can to stop it.
White people and other ethnic minorities have such a role to play as well as standing as allies, because you don't have to go through something to know right from wrong. So if you're doing nothing about it, I think you're part of the problem.
In general, we're seeing a rise in sort of this like right-wing nationalism happening in the world. And so I think that's giving almost a breath of new life to these other, fans of football or other people that like, oh, I'm not the only one who feels this way.
And whose problem is it? Ultimately, it's everybody's. Every form of discrimination is all of our jobs, really, is all of our responsibilities.
So we saw the video, like a lot of people, of Liverpool fans chanting, if he scores another few, then I'll be Muslim too. And that kind of triggered something in us as authors and as researchers. We thought, this is pretty interesting. So our study is trying to test the idea that Mo Salah reduced Islamophobia among Liverpool fans. Salah has actually changed how people perceive Muslims. We did a survey of around 8,000 Liverpool fans. We also have a data set of 15 million tweets. So we found that compared to what we would have expected based on similar places, the hate crime level in Liverpool dropped by about 16 percentage points. And the Islamophobic tweets that were produced by Liverpool fans also went down about half, actually, of what we would have expected relative to fans of other clubs.
It's not because Salah is making is making statements. It's not because Salah is giving interviews about discrimination all the time. It's just about the way he plays football, the way the other players love him and respect him, the way the Liverpool fans feel that he's one of them.
You see, you have to do something outstanding in order to be accepted. If you're not successful, if you're just part of it, not successful, what happens then? So therefore, you always have to be unbelievable creative in order to get a voice. It's like the same thing, always something bad must happen before people change something. Why not before, when you see all the signs? We don't.
Hi, my name is Guram Kashia. I play for Georgian national team. It was a come-out week in Netherlands, and I was the captain of my former team in Vitesse. And so I had to wear the LGBT flag captain band, which all the captains wore in that week. And yeah, I had because of that huge backlash in my country, and I had to go back to play the game with national team. And it was like a demonstration before the game, during the game. I got like a lot of negative comments. It was a tough time for me.
I wanted to come out while I was still playing because I knew it would have a huge impact. But my closest friends thought that's a bad idea. So it took me just too long to be brave enough. It's the dressing room that's probably the most intimidating place because there are your teammates, that's where you talk about the game, you want to be successful, and suddenly there is that gay player in the dressing room and some might be uncomfortable, and that's what, in my opinion, stops some players from coming out. I was asked by my former club, VfB Stuttgart, to join them, to run the academy, to become a sporting director, and now I'm the CEO of VfB Stuttgart. You know, we talk about a Bundesliga club with a great tradition, great history, and their CEO is gay.
I spent 2 years in America playing for San Jose Earthquakes. It feels like it would be easier for a player to come out in MLS than in Europe.
What's up, mid? How you doing?
My name is Matt Hatsky. I played for the San Jose Earthquakes in 2008 as a midfielder. The MLS has been pretty much at the forefront in terms of out LGBT in men's sports. You know, I didn't come out until much later after I finished playing soccer, maybe 6 or 7 years after.
How was your experience? Because I know the fans, I know the dressing room,
Yeah.
it have been like worrying for you.
You know, in locker rooms, in the general banter, you hear slurs thrown around, and, that obviously makes it harder to come out. Society is getting more accepting of it. Gay marriage was passed a few years ago. There's been these steps that have helped improve it, but not in terms of the number of out male athletes. But if you look at the Women's World Cup, there were 30 to 40 out women. And they're out publicly and proud and holding their partner or significant other's hands, kissing them after the game.
I just wanted to support Magda. She had just won an important game in the World Cup, so it was just normal. I mean, if I would have been a man, I would have kissed my girlfriend, and now I'm a woman, I also kiss my girlfriend. I mean, it should not be different. For me, it was easier to come out when I saw there was some other players who actually already were out and open about the sexuality. And yeah, of course, I think it will help a lot in the men's game if a high-profile player would be open about his sexuality, because now nobody knows how the reaction will be if someone come out.
For a long time, I was avoiding this subject, but now I'm really open to talk, and we have to move forward as a community, as a country, and I think we are doing the right step going.
van der Zande. I'm a player of the Dutch national team. Sexism definitely still exists, but I think it's getting better, so people has more respect for us. But it still exists in the football, yeah, I think so. My previous club, Lyon, they have mean a lot to me. I mean, I won like big trophies 3 times in a row, the Champions League, and I really enjoyed my time over there. There are loads of clubs who they want the women's team, but they don't really believe in it. You know what I mean? Here in Wolfsburg, you see that everyone give 100% for the women's team. Like on a game day, everyone is there, and that's how it is in Lyon. That's why we won the trophies, because everything was there, and that's what you need as a player and as a team.
We centralized the rights for Women's Champions League as the same way as we do with men's competition. At the beginning, we had some people saying, why are you using money for women's football? You're losing money. It's not losing money. It's investing, and the results are there.
I think as a women's footballer, you always have discrimination, whether you feel it, whether you see it or you don't. It is there. It's there in your club or in the fans or on social media. I think that's a huge thing. I think that's where a lot of people get their abuse, and I think that's as a female footballer, that's where you feel the most kind of discrimination and abuse on there. It's just made me want to fight harder to make it right for people after me.
I'm Dan Lovren, and I'm a football player, and I was a refugee.
Well, I'm Nadia Nadim. I'm a professional football player, play for the Danish national team. Born in Afghanistan, and when I was 10 years old, we came as refugees to Denmark.
Whenever I go through the villages, you know, in Croatia, unfortunately, you still see the bullets on the walls from the war. And we're talking about 25 years.
We had luck because my granddad was working before the war in Germany, so we had somewhere to go. But imagine the people who didn't have anything.
Jer ja sam rekla i kod nas da nije bilo rata, ne bi se iz naše Kraljeve Sutjeske sigurno makli. Šta ću reći, šta da nije bilo jednostavno?
Pa nije bilo.
Nije, naravno da nije ti s 3 godine i moj tat je trebalo u principu u jednu torbu spakovati cijeli život i pokrenut se. I šta smo mogli ponijeti osim nekih stvari, robe za presvući?
Yeah. Emotions are coming up.
So at the refugee camp, there was these football fields just beside us. So I used to watch them train, and I've heard about football, haven't really watched it so much. One day, I saw a girls' team play. At that moment, I think I knew I wanted to play football. That's how I made like my first Danish friends. You know, even though I didn't even speak the language, you don't really speak, but you still communicate with the ball. During the Euros, fighting for us to bring, you know, the cup home, all this stuff. And the only thing some of the politicians could think of is, why is this refugee girl taking so many headlines? Because I'm kicking ass. Watching them, you know, makes me think of when I was back in the refugee camp, or when I started playing with the, you know, with kids on my age, you know. You need those moments in your life, especially if you've been through a lot of struggle. I think that's really important for any human being.
Football is everywhere around the world the same language on that pitch. You can make a lot of friends, and everyone knows that. People will treat you differently on the pitch, and then it starts. Because this is, I think, one of the greatest things in football, to connect people. Then we speak all together the same language. Yeah.
I'm Alicia Lehmann. I'm playing for the Swiss national team and Aston Villa. So I'm using a lot of time Instagram and TikTok and WhatsApp, of course. I like to influence young girls and show them, let's do it. You can achieve everything in your life. When you see people share negative things, I don't know, sometimes it makes me a bit sad because I always want to use it as a positive. When I was dating a girl before, I think a lot of time people didn't accept it or said, oh, now you're so different, or you're not one of us anymore, or like, I don't see you as the same now. And it just hurts because for me, everyone is the same. The people online are much less brave because they're behind a phone or a computer.
Think back to Euro 2020 final, what happened with the boys from England. At the same time, I was really happy for us to win the Euro. I could see what was happening to them, their families, their friends. It's horrible.
I was shocked, I was hurt, and I was really disappointed seeing those 3 black players being targeting that way.
My name's Dr. Daniel Kilvington. I'm a senior lecturer in media and cultural studies, particularly focusing on social media hate speech. Social media abuse towards footballers is on the rise, and I think we need to look at the broader socio-political context for that. We look at the growth in the right wing across Europe and also America and further afield as well, coupled with the fact that there are a lack of penalties. If people do this online, they're likely to get away with it. So all of that adds together a perfect cocktail of abuse that we've seen within football.
Je m'appelle Wendy Renard, je suis joueuse professionnelle à l'Olympique Lyonnais. Pendant la Coupe du Monde 2019 en France, lors de mon premier match, je marque un doublé et on reçoit que des éloges sur les réseaux sociaux. Et lors de mon deuxième match, je marque contre mon camp et tout de suite, il y a eu des insultes. Mon visage a été un peu transformé en singe. Beaucoup de critiques aussi de par mes cheveux.
Soy Jesús Tomiero y fui el primer árbitro homosexual en España y en Europa que lo dijo públicamente. Ahí está todo bien hasta que yo me eché una pareja y subí una foto en redes sociales, como cualquier otro joven. He tenido que perder mi carrera profesional como árbitro de fútbol. Lo dejo porque me llegan más de 1.500 amenazas de muerte. Y la que ya me mató, que tuve que llamar a la Policía Nacional, era una con las piernas cortadas. Y tuve que estar un mes cortada por la Policía Nacional. Yo muchas veces he pensado en autolesionarme o incluso con el suicidio, porque no aguantaba esa presión mediática.
We have young players in the academy. They all have a mobile phone, they all have social media, and it is important for us to educate them about what can happen.
Ich glaube, jeder Fußballer geht mal gefühlt bei Instagram oder auf irgendwelchen Social-Media-Plattformen. Viel Hate und ja auch viele Schimpfwörter zugeschmissen, die man natürlich nicht hören will.
Today you can create 1, 2, 3, 4 profiles without ID, and then nobody can trace you. Maybe if you can change that, it might help, because once you are scared you could be traced, maybe you think twice of what you're gonna say and what you're gonna do.
Social media organisations have the technology, they have the algorithms there, so it's about identifying and removing it as quick as possible and not leaving it on there. And if you see hate, don't scroll past it, report it.
C'est vrai qu'on fait pas mal de campagnes pour diverses causes, mais je pense que les sanctions doivent être encore plus sévères.
I think the social media platforms need to change need to make new rules, needs to support, I don't know, those people that are affected.
The responsibility is not just on the player, is on those platforms, is on us football government and the politicians to find a way to stop that.
Le sport, il n'a pas de couleur, il n'a pas de religion. On a un devoir, tous, dans le monde professionnel, par rapport à la jeune génération. Pas très vieux, moi. Après, il y a les instances, les gouvernements, où là aussi, il y a besoin d'aider la sphère sportive à ce que quand ça arrive, voilà, c'est pas oui, mais bon, on passe ça un peu sous silence, quoi. Non, ça n'a pas de place, quoi.
UEFA does a lot, but it's never enough. We have to do more, but we need a strong support from the governments. We have a problem with some governments because they have a problem with discrimination.
You can have such an impact off the field, even just by saying it publicly, I think can bring so much light to some issues and get people, starting the conversation.
We as footballers, we can do something about it because this is the biggest sport in the world.
I'm really proud of the players who stand up and say enough is enough because there is a limit.
Football is a school of life. We have to be the role models. If any industry in the world can do that, that's football.
No tolerance anymore.
This is a big problem for the society. You have to act now before it's been too late.